Hare Krishna, dear devotees, my humble obeisances to you all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you all for joining His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. Today we are continuing with our Srimad Bhagavatam series, our first canto, 17th chapter, verse number 2. Today's class will be given by Her Grace Radha Vinodini Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji, my humble obeisances to you, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your time and association. You can please take over, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Can I share my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. Our glories to Srila Prabhupada and our glories to Guru Maharaj. So, we are continuing with Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vrisham Rinala Davalam Mihantam Iva Bibyatam Vipamanam Padaikena Siddhantam Shudrataditam. Srila Prabhupada's translation. The bull was as white as a white lotus flower. He was terrified of the Shudra who was beating him, and he was so afraid that he was standing on one leg, trembling and urinating. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The next symptom of the age of Kali is that the principles of religion, which are all spotlessly white, like the white lotus flower, will be attacked by the uncultured Shudra population of the age. They may be descendants of Brahmana or Kshatriya forefathers, but in the age of Kali, for want of sufficient education and culture of Vedic wisdom, such a Shudra-like population will defy the principles of religion, and persons who are religiously endowed with will be terrified by such men. They will declare themselves as adherents of no religious principles, and many isms and cults will spring up in Kali Yuga only to kill the spotless bull of religion. The state will be declared to be secular or without any particular principle of religion, and as a result, there will be total indifference to the principles of religion. The citizens will be free to act as they like without respect for sadhu, shastra, and guru. The bull standing on one leg indicates that the principles of religion are gradually diminishing. Even the fragmental existence of religious principles will be embarrassed by so many obstacles, as if in the trembling condition of falling down at any time. Om Gyanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Shanakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Candramauli Swami Niti Namine. So this is a very interesting verse. Usually when I've heard from the scriptures about, usually it's about the cow, not so much about the bull, but here we can hear about our father Dharma, and actually it was so nice that how Srimad Bhagavatam emphasizes the beauty of the bull. Usually, we are emphasizing the beauty of the ladies or the beauty of the cow. But here we read that the bull was as white as a white lotus flower, and how beautiful he is. Sorry, how beautiful he is, and actually this is the role of religion, the role of Dharma in our life, that actually it's attractive and it's protective. It gives some strength, some power into our lives. But this is just the preface of what I would like to speak about. I would like to start a little bit far, but I promise I will get to the point of the verse. So lately I've heard some very nice metaphor about our situation, our position in our material life. And it was the metaphor of computers. It's a very something which we very much can relate to. So in regards to computers, there is the hardware, there is the software, and there is the user. And I will speak also about there is the boss, but it will be a bit later. So it's a little bit like, we have the gross material body, the subtle body, and also there is the soul. And it's very interesting that we have to see all these three in some kind of balance, because obviously the material body, and meaning the gross and the subtle body also, we have to maintain them because they are needed also in our spiritual life to properly execute our spiritual practices. And this body is something which we use for the service of Krishna. But obviously the problem is that in our present age, most of us put a little bit too much emphasis on the material body. But when something goes wrong in the hardware, it can be many different kind of things. Sometimes we don't use the hardware properly. I've heard one example when those people whom we work for, I work in a computer programming company, and some of the users did something interesting. At that time, they had, these big type of monitors, and they were typing some kind of data from one book. And as they went from page by page, the monitor the screen started to become darker and darker. And the user didn't understand what happens. But what happened is that there was some, these wheels which you could use to set the brightness of the screen. And while they were turning the pages, the paper was a little bit turning this wheel, and the screen started to become darker and darker. So that's what happened, because the user didn't properly use the hardware. But sometimes, there are different memory, these small memory cards in the computer, and if one of them breaks, or so there is something wrong with it, then the computer can go on. It's just there is less memory. It has to write more onto the Winchester, but the hard drive. But otherwise, it's still functionable. But it might also happen that this cooling fan is, some kind of dust gets into it, and it becomes slower and slower. So the machine will be more hot, and it will become again slower, because the software comes into the picture, and it sees that, the CPU unit is too hot, so I shouldn't use it as much, so it will be slower. But sometimes there are some certain parts, if those break down, then the whole computer just stops functioning. And there is the software. Sometimes the software can help out correcting the mistakes of the hardware. Also, as I mentioned in the case with this cooling fan. So I remember when I went to university, at some point I had a problem with my computer that from time to time, it just turned off by itself, and I didn't know what can be the problem. And in the end, when someone checked it, they found that this cooler, this fan, didn't function properly. And when everything became so hot inside, then the computer just turned off by itself. So it also happens. But sometimes when there are some mistakes in the software which makes it possible to continue to use the computer, but sometimes, there are viruses, and those can cause problems like showing messages or block the whole computer and blackmail us that if we don't pay money to send such and such persons, then we will lost all our data. So anyway, we can see that there is an interesting balance in this, but we have to see that the purpose of the computer is that the user wants to use it for some reason. And also in our case, we should take care of the body, like the hardware and the software, but we have to see that the most important thing is what the user wants to use the computer for. What are the spirit soul's interests in this material world, and then comes into the picture. Just imagine, like, there is a company. In this case, the better example is like a family company, and when my father is the boss, and the purpose of the computer is actually not to satisfy myself, my goals. Sometimes it happens that the workers just during the office hours, they install some kind of virtual reality game on the computer and just do that instead of working. And this is what we do actually many times in the material world, that we put on these virtual reality glasses on our face, and instead of doing what is our duty, we just start to play our virtual reality game. But there is our boss, which, as I mentioned, loving father, family business is better example in this regard, because Krishna is obviously not someone behind our back using a whip to make us work, but there is a loving relationship that we actually, the soul actually wants to please the loving father. So we are also interesting to taking care of this family business, like Vaisheshika Prabhu has this book, our family business. So actually this is what happens in the material world, and it's a little bit like this. I think the proper word is this seesaw, maybe, when children play that sometimes the one side goes down, sometimes the other side goes down, and they are playing like that. And this is how we live our life here, that in the middle, this point which decides which way this thing will go. On one side, there is the material body, both the gross and subtle body, and on the other side, there is Krishna. So we have to have a balance between them, but as I've heard sometimes from Devamrita Maharaj, sometimes we like to make a balance, like between the material and our spiritual lives. A little bit Maya, a little bit of Krishna. It's nice if the two are in balance. Both of them are present in our lives. So the balance shouldn't be like that. And the reason I mentioned this whole metaphor is that these different levels, the hardware, the software, and the user, or the different levels of the body and also the spirit soul, all these levels have different needs. All three will have different needs, but all three have needs, but all the three has different needs. And if we want to satisfy certain needs with something else, it won't be real satisfaction. And this is like, if I'm thirsty, you can bring me the best cakes or pizzas or whatever, sabjis, chapatis or something like that. It won't really be pleasing because the original need is something to drink, like water or something. And the interesting thing is that if you think about it, when we are thirsty, sometimes we start to eat because we confuse the needs. And the interesting thing that thirst can go away, but it doesn't mean that the body is satisfied. It means that there will come some kind of unhealthy reactions, results. So that's also the problem with us, that we want to satisfy certain needs with something else. And temporarily, the need seems to go away, but it doesn't mean that that the need is not there anymore. So in our present age, because here we are speaking about Kali Yuga, in our present age, there is science. Modern age is religion. We could say that. And actually, if you think about it, the goal of science most prominently is how we can satisfy not even our bodily needs, but our bodily wants better and better. So, now we have computers, we have, some ages ago, people had to go to the well or to the nearby river to get some water. Now there is water in our homes. So it's so comfortable. There are so many different foodstuffs, even during the winter. And now we think that, we are so much more developed than people in previous ages. And this is about the needs of the gross material body. But there is also there are also needs of the subtle body. So what is the result in our present age? There is entertainment. There are so many movies and theaters, and you can travel all around the world, see different things. There are these computer games, and the interesting thing is that there is this saying from Srila Prabhupada, chewing the chewed, and we can see that all this entertainment business became so big, and there is such great need for it, that even it cannot really compete the needs. I mean, they cannot even produce newer and newer movies. That's why remakes are coming all the time. There are some kind of movies which, I don't know, maybe the fifth or even more remake is done, because they cannot come up with so many new ideas which could satisfy the need of the people. And it's so obvious that yeah, we are just trying to enjoy the same thing in a new dress. And it can satisfy the needs of the subtle body, but actually it's a temporary satisfaction. It's actually a little bit like a painkiller. So for some time, I won't feel the suffering, but after some time it will come back, and even in bigger, it will be bigger and bigger. So the need will become greater and greater. So it's actually not really beneficial. And there is something interesting which I've heard lately, that in our present age, with a few clicks on the internet, we can get access to more inauspicious content, let's say like that, obscene and other type of things, which people of a few decades ago, they didn't see so much even during a lifetime. So it's very interesting how science works, that, you know, we can use it properly, but if whatever way we use, properly or improperly, the results will be much greater. So actually science should be a tool, and religion should be guiding that tool, how we can properly use this kind of science. But instead, science took the role of religion. I will speak about it later, but let's move further, because there was something else which caught my eyes in this verse, and it was the role of the Shudras. So we hear many times that in this present age we are all or most of us are Shudras, and even below that. I think it was mentioned in this purport, or somewhere else I read that Shudras or barbarians. So it's very, very interesting, that word. And just lately I read something from Canto 12 of Srimad Bhagavatam, and I would like to read a few verses from there, because in Canto 12 we can hear about Kali Yuga a lot, and how actually all these the previous 3 ages led to the state of Kali Yuga, and actually also that the different varnas, how they degraded age by age. So in chapter, this is not that, it's just it will be in 3rd chapter of Canto 12, but first I would like to go in a logical order. And in Canto 9, chapter 14, in the end of the introduction, Srila Prabhupada wrote this, that in Satya Yuga there was only one social division called Hamsa. There were no divisions of Varna like Brahmanas, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And the Veda was Omkara. The various demigods were not worshipped, for only the Supreme Personality of Godhead was the worshipable deity. So this was the state of Satya Yuga. And very interesting that there were no Varnas. So there was only this, not even Brahmanas, but Hamsa. I haven't heard actually about this, but as I understand, Hamsa is even above Brahmana, because in Satya Yuga, it was the predominant mode of nature was goodness, and even the demigods were not worshipped. So it's interesting, and okay, let's move to this chapter 3. I won't go in order of the number of verses, but in another logic. So in text 27, we can read about Satya Yuga. So the verse says that when the mind, intelligence, and senses are solidly fixed in the mode of goodness, that time should be understood as Satya Yuga, the age of truth. People then take pleasure in knowledge and austerity. So here it's very important that mode of goodness is predominant, and the mind, intelligence, and senses are solidly fixed in it. And also previously in verses 18 and 19, it's also about Satya Yuga. My dear king, in the beginning, during Satya Yuga, the age of truth, religion is present with all 4 of its legs intact and is carefully maintained by the people of that age. These 4 legs of powerful religion are truthfulness, mercy, austerity, and charity. The people of Satya Yuga are for the most part self-satisfied, merciful, friendly to all, peaceful, sober, and tolerant. They take their pleasure from within, see all things equally, and always endeavor diligently for spiritual perfection. So this is Satya Yuga. Okay, let's move forward. Treta Yuga comes, and here it says in verse 28, O most intelligent one, when the conditioned souls are devoted to their duties but have ulterior motives and seek personal prestige, you should understand such a situation to be the age of Treta, in which the functions of passion are prominent. So we moved forward from Satya Yuga to Treta Yuga, and instead of the mode of goodness, the mode of passion became prominent. And what happened? Because there are passion, and there are ulterior motives. So there are some certain personal motivations, but still I want to achieve my goals by following the instructions of the Vedas. And so they are still devoted to their duties because they want to achieve their goals properly, in a proper way, in line with Krishna's instructions. But also here, in Treta Yuga, each leg of religion is gradually reduced by 1/4 by the influence of the 4 pillars of irreligion: lying, violence, dissatisfaction, and quarrel. In the Treta age, people are devoted to ritual performances and severe austerities. Why? Because, I mean, it's not the verse, but why it is? Because by ritual performances and austerities, they can get some kind of power, some kind of benediction. So we can see the influence of Rajaguna here. They are not excessively violent or very lusty after sensual pleasure. Their interest lies primarily in religiosity, economic development, and regulated sense gratification. And they achieve prosperity by following the prescriptions of the 3 Vedas. Although in this age society evolves into 4 separate classes, O king, most people are Brahmanas. So here we can see that there are the personal interests, but it's still going according to the Vedas. And here the 4 Varnas appeared. So there are Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. But while in this age the emphasis is on Shudras, in Treta Yuga most people are Brahmanas. And there was something else which is interesting here, that, where was it? Oh, yeah. So each leg of religion is gradually reduced by 1/4 by the influence of the 4 pillars of irreligion. So I don't know, maybe it was confusing only for me, but I thought a little bit speaking about also this, that in our words, we could read that the bull of Dharma is standing only on one leg. And for some reason, previously, I understood this, that the Shudra is cutting the legs of Dharma one by one. But here we can see that each leg of religion is gradually reduced. I still need to do some research about this, but as I understand now, these are different approaches. So all legs are gradually reducing, or leg of the Dharma is the only standing leg is truthfulness. If someone of you has heard something about it, I would be interested in the discussion section. I just wanted to emphasize that it's very interesting how Canto 12 wrote about this in a different aspect. Okay, so here we can see that still the Brahmanas are most prominently there. Let's move to Dvapara Yuga. So when greed, dissatisfaction, false pride, hypocrisy, and envy become prominent, along with attraction for selfish activities, such a time is the age of Dvapara, dominated by the mixed modes of passion and ignorance. So we moved even lower in the modes of nature. And here is the first time when it's actually we hear about bad qualities and also selfish activities. So even in Treta Yuga, some personal motives were there, but those were connected to duty. But here it was that attraction for selfish activities. So it's really degrading. And we can also see that modes of passion and ignorance. So ignorance also came into the picture. And in the previous, here, in the Dvapara Yuga, the religious qualities of austerity, truth, mercy, and charity are reduced to one half by their irreligious counterparts: dissatisfaction, untruth, violence, and enmity. In the Dvapara age, people are interested in glory and are very noble. They devote themselves to the study of the Vedas, possess great opulence, support large families, and enjoy life with vigor. Of the four classes, the Kshatriyas and Brahmanas are most numerous. So here we can still see that Kshatriyas or Brahmanas are mostly there, although there are the other varnas also. And it's very interesting. It gave me a thought about what I've heard from Urmila Mataji has this also a book and seminar called Career Dharma. Previously, I had class about all these the roles of these varnas based on her seminar, which I've heard. And it's very interesting that all these varnas are connected to some certain personal nature and how it can be engaged in different kinds of service to the society. So each varna is connected some kind of needs of the society. And here, because the needs of society are more likely which Kshatriyas and Brahmanas can satisfy, they are there, because still not the sense gratification, the self-interest, the selfishness is not so prominent as it is in the Kali Yuga. So Shudras are those who actually produce all the stuff which is which gives pleasure to the senses. And because in Kali Yuga, the greatest need for people, I mean, not the need, but the want, I would say, people want sense gratification. That's also connected that most people are there to satisfy that need. So, okay, then we move forward to Kali Yuga. Actually, this is what we are speaking about now. Text 30. When there is a predominance of cheating, lying, sloth, sleepiness, violence, depression, lamentation, bewilderment, fear, and poverty, that age is Kali, the age of mode of ignorance. And very interesting here, you know, that we think that we are so knowledgeable. We have science. There is such knowledge we achieved during the last decades. And still here we can see that this is the mode of ignorance which is prominent in this age. And this is actually a very, very great illusion in this age, that because we, you know, just one example, I have a relative whom used to speak about knowledge a lot. And he's sort of a nationalist, and he very much likes to emphasize how Hungarian we are the people of knowledge. And you know, we had some kind of discussion, and at some point I really argued with him that actually the knowledge is not just having information. Knowledge is something when we also know why we have this knowledge, what we want to achieve. If we follow these tools which we got from science or from knowledge, we know how to use it, what will be the result. And that is also part of knowledge. If there is no knowledge about that, then it's not real knowledge. And, you know, I could see that in one sense, I could see that he didn't accept what I said, but he was confused because I could see that this is such a new thought for him that, oh, maybe not, you know, when we think that we have knowledge, but we don't even know what it is. It's so contradictory. And that is the problem, one of the problems with Kali Yuga, that we don't know what knowledge is. And we think that we have knowledge, but actually, because we think knowledge is something else, we have something else. So that's a big problem. And that's why Krishna speaks about it in Bhagavad Gita, that there is knowledge in the different modes of nature. So knowledge in the mode of goodness is different from knowledge in the mode of passion, and that's different from knowledge in the mode of ignorance. And yeah, someone can have knowledge in the mode of ignorance. So that's why it's really tricky, and that's why it really seems contradictory, because we think that we have knowledge, but what modern ages people consider knowledge is not real knowledge. And still about Kali Yuga, some further verses. In the age of Kali, only 1/4 of the religious principles remains. That last remnant will continuously be decreased by the ever-increasing principles of irreligion and will finally be destroyed. In the Kali age, people tend to be greedy, ill-behaved, and merciless, and they fight one another without good reason. Unfortunate and obsessed with material desires, the people of Kali Yuga are almost all Shudras and barbarians. Oh, yeah, yes, that was the verse where I read barbarians with the so-called knowledge. So it also it's very interesting to see how the varnas degraded throughout the different ages. And that's also a proof why our varna is not determined by birth, because you know, it's not like all the time the Shudras had many children, and the Brahmanas were so austere that they didn't have children, and that's why the higher varnas started to be extinct. It's not like that, because as Srila Prabhupada also wrote in our purport, in the purport today, so it's that because lack of education. That's the reason people became Shudras and even lower. So it sounds terrifying, actually, the Kali Yuga. And so what's the situation after all with the science and religion? And because, you know, many people, mostly scientists, speak about that religion was created by people because religion had to satisfy certain needs. And it's very interesting that, as we spoke about it today already, scientists' goal is to satisfy people's needs. And that's why they see it appearing in other aspects of life. That's why they suspect religion is there for satisfying needs, because actually science is the thing which is there to satisfy needs, actually mostly bodily needs. And it leads to why people turn to God, why people turn to religion. Bhaktivinoda Thakur had these 4 categories that the lowest of motivation is when I understand that, oh, this material life is so much suffering. I don't want to suffer. That's why I turn to God. And it's not really good, because in this case, I actually see God as someone who sends me the suffering, and I have to turn to him to escape what he sent to me. One level higher is when I want to achieve something, when I want to get sense gratification, and that's why I turn to God, because he can grant this sense gratification to me. Even one better, and that's where real religion starts, when I turn to religion because of being grateful. So I don't want anything from God, because I already appreciate what he gave me, and I just want to reciprocate. So I want to follow my duties, because I want to express my gratitude to him. But it's still not the best. The best is when I just want to serve God because I love him. He's so attractive. I just want to please him, and this is the highest, obviously. So we can have so many reasons for following a certain religion, and some people really want to have sense gratification. And even in Krishna consciousness, if you think about it, it gives chance to have a higher level sense gratification than without Krishna consciousness. You know, it's so pleasurable to have sense gratification in the mode of goodness. There is nice music, good company, they are so kind, the devotees and stuff. So we can follow religion actually with this motive. It's not pure devotion. It's some kind of mixed devotion when I want to achieve something. But the interesting point, which I have heard from Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's classes lately, that there are the four goals of material life: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. And the problem is that many times when dharma doesn't lead me to artha, kama, then I just abandon dharma, because I actually want artha and kama. But if dharma doesn't give it to me, then I just don't want to follow it. And yeah, so science is actually like a knife. You can use it as a tool, but science itself doesn't give us the purpose of using the tool. You can cut it you can use it for cutting vegetables, for preparing food for Krishna. You can use it to kill animals. And because science lets us make an even sharper blade for the knife, the result will be bigger. So that's what science is actually. And that's why we confuse what is knowledge in this age, because we have more efficient tools, but we tended to forget the reason of these tools. That's why religion decreases and this so-called knowledge increases. That is which we could observe in these ages, the descriptions. So let's not finish this this presentation without some kind of solution, because it's very, very disappointing at this point. And the good thing is that in Kali Yuga and in 12th canto, we can read about the terrible things which happen in Kali Yuga, but also we can hear about the solutions. And it's very interesting that there are actually two chapters which I read, which gave solutions, the third and fourth chapters. And in both cases, both chapters, first, there are some kind of, how to say, the bad circumstances are described. So in chapter 3, we can read about the degradation of the Varnas, and you know, it's even described in more detail the Kali Yuga terrible circumstances. So if someone wants to read about it, in chapter 3, starting from this verse 31, you don't have to go to a movie theater to watch horror movies. It's there in the 12th canto. So first is described what are the circumstances, but in both chapters give some kind of solution. And in chapter 3, this is the holy name. So there is this really famous verse. This one. So Kalir Doshan Ide Rajan Asti Hieko Mahanguna Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Brajet. My dear king, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. So it's very much encouraging. And so we can hear about the power of the holy name, how we can get rid of all this suffering, which we previously read about. Even prior to this this verse, I also noted these two verses which speak about the meditation on the Lord. So if a person hears about, glorifies, meditates upon, worships, or simply offers great respect to the Supreme Lord, who is situated within the heart, the Lord will remove from his mind the contamination accumulated during many thousands of lifetimes. Just as fire applied to gold removes all discoloration caused by the traces of other metals, Lord Vishnu within the heart purifies the minds of the yogis. So this speaks about the remembrance of the Lord, meditating on him. And last but not least, the chapter 4. In chapter 4, we can hear about the different kinds of distractions, which is also very disappointing to hear about. Also the destruction of the universe after Brahma's day, while Lord Brahma sleeps, and the other destruction, which is at the end of Brahma, Lord Brahma's life. But we might think that, oh, we are just in the middle of Kali Yuga, so I don't have to bother with that. But then we hear about that there is a third kind of distraction, which is happen by which happens every moment to us. That our cells are getting older and older, and our body gets older and older, and just we have to die. So, oh my God, I really have to be considered with this distraction, because I also won't survive this one. So then we hear about the third kind of distraction, which is, how to say, the real distraction, when we can leave this material world. So when we achieve liberation. And this is what we can hear about here. My dear Parikshit, when the illusory false ego that binds the soul has been cut off with the sword of discriminating knowledge, and one has developed realization of Lord Achyuta, the Supreme Soul, this is called Atyantika, or ultimate annihilation of material existence. So this is the solution for us. And at this part of the Srimad Bhagavatam, we can also hear a little bit more about the glories of transcendental knowledge. So in chapter 3, the solution was meditating on the Lord, and the top of that meditation is chanting the holy name. And in chapter 4, we can hear about the transcendental knowledge, the glories of transcendental knowledge. So we can see that there is so much danger for the beautiful bull of Dharma here in Kali Yuga. But we can also see that that we are not alone, because if we couldn't rely on some greater strength than our own, then we would be just lost. But Krishna gave us very, very powerful facilities which we can rely on. And not to speak about, just last week we celebrated the appearance of Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda is so famous of helping even the most degraded, most fallen souls. So for us, Jagais and Madais, there is still some hope, even in Kali Yuga. Okay, so I think I said everything, so we can open for some discussions.
Krishna, thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for such a wonderful class. Yeah, very detailed explanation of the Kali Yuga and from 12th canto, quoting from the verses. Thank you so much, Mataji. Dear devotees, if you have any questions or comments or realizations, you can please go ahead.
I would like only thank you for such a nice lecture, really. So inspiring, and I have to listen more this lecture. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the encouragement. Everything comes from Shira Gurudev, so by his mercy.
You prepare so perfect, yes.
Rishabh Prabhu, you're asking, can you speak more to Radha Vinodini Mataji?
Sorry, I don't understand. Now I should continue.
I have a question, please. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Manjuvala.
Can you please once again explain why we take science more important than religion? What is the base, I didn't understood it right. We want to follow its knowledge, but the other part I don't get it. Can you please explain it again?
So why we tend to turn to science more
to science,
than
not religion? Yeah.
Well, by we you mean generally, or we as devotees even, or
yes, or even we as devotees. Yeah.
So obviously we can understand that, because in present age, most of us are having a Shudra mentality. That's a great problem, because Shudras are those who are connected to sense pleasures the most. Actually, that's why they are so good with all kinds of matter, because they like to create something which pleases the senses, like nice sculptures or beautiful paintings, so nice songs about love between men and women. So there is this need, and because most of us are degraded to this point, we are more connected to sensory pleasures. And this is what for this we get a great tool, because science gives us a facility to please our senses even more. Just imagine, like, there are so many amazing foodstuffs with which Vedic kitchen can give us. So there are so many dairy sweets or amazing sabjis. So it's really amazing. But what happens is that science creates all these artificial taste modifier things. Sorry, my English is not enough for this, but we can experience different kinds of looks, different kinds of tastes, which are not natural, but still pleasing for the senses. For example, like, I was also a little bit into how to create beautiful cakes for if I would like to prepare for someone, and it's possible to, there are these food colorings, and which helps to make even nicer cakes, but for the body it may not be the best. But we are so much into this thing that how we can satisfy our senses even more. And oh, she or he did even better cake. Then now I want to do an even better than his ones. So there is also there is this pride that I want to be the best. And that's why this becomes more and more prominent, this desire. And science, because it has the tools, but doesn't have the sense of what purpose it should serve. That's why we take the tool, because it's easy. Oh, I have the tool. I don't have to bother with the purpose. It's so nice. I will determine the purpose because I know it well. So I can just follow my own desires. I don't have to be bothered with all duties or what is beneficial, what is not beneficial, because I know it. I know what I want, and obviously I'm not wrong. It's very rare to meet someone who says that, oh, I don't have knowledge. I'm such a silly person. So it's really rare, and it's comfortable to accept tools and don't accept the purpose and the right use of tools. Just imagine one thing again. Sometimes when we buy some kind of machine, and there is the description how to use it. And sometimes like this.
It's big, yeah, too big.
And how often we start to read it? Never, ever. Because we don't want the description. We will figure it out. We just want to use the tool. And this is why we throw out also the description of life and just use the facilities of life. I think that's how I can best
Thank
describe.
you. Wonderful. For example, if I want to learn how to paint watercolors, and then if I paint it for my pleasure, then it's sense gratification. But if I paint Radha Krishna, if I would learn how to properly paint it and follow some rules of it and everything and Shastra, then it would be okay. Thank you.
Whatever we connect with Krishna, that's good. If we use that for meditating on Krishna or doing it for his pleasure, for his devotees' pleasure.
Okay. Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Thank
you for your question. It was good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So here Rishabh Prabhu is writing, Hare Krishna, as I remember, it is written that for each Kshatriya, there are 10 Vaishyas and there are 100 Sudras on one Vaishya. So what was the situation in Treta Yuga when Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are most of population?
It's a good question. I can just only say what I read in the verses that which said that in the previous ages other varnas were more prominent. I just I've never read these ratios, but it would be interesting to see the context if it was written for some certain age or not, because it might explain it, but I have to admit I didn't read this this ratio between the certain varnas. So I'm sorry, I cannot say anything more. I don't want to speculate.
Hope that answers, Rishabh Prabhu. Thank you, Mataji. So, dear devotees, any more questions or comments? Hare Krishna, Mataji, I don't see any questions. Thank you so much once again for coming online and giving this class. After a long time, we are able to hear your class. So wonderful.
Thank you for
So please do
engaging me.
come whenever you have time. Mataji, I request you. Dear devotees, if you have any last minute questions or comments, you can please go ahead. Otherwise, we can end the call here. Sorry, it's my unexpectedly I got this service today. So I was in a rush. I didn't know that I was hosting. So I didn't plan well. Sorry about that. Thank you so much, Mataji, once again. And we'll end
Sorry,
the
can
call
I
here as
add
well.
something short
Sure,
in
sure.
the end? It's
Sure,
not
sure,
connected
yeah.
really to this topic, but I just also would like to encourage others to give class, because for me, you know, it's very in one sense, I would say it's very humbling what you said about these classes, because I never feel that I would be the one putting it all together, because so many times it happens that I just read something which really connects to this, or I hear from one class and somehow these things come together. So the very interesting thing in this is that that Krishna comes into the picture, and if we would like to how to say, to please the devotees to understand this topic better, and then he supports us so much, and I always experience that when I prepare for one class, it's totally different experience than when I'm just reading. Just I understand, because when I'm preparing for a class, then I try to see everything more in context, or I would say I'm more pushed to see things in context, and as I mentioned many times, Krishna sends something, because it's, you know, you could say it's such a coincidence that in the last few days I was reading about this topic, this third and fourth chapter in Canto 12. If Krishna didn't arrange it like that, maybe this class would be totally different. So it's so available for everyone to experience Krishna's support, help, encouragement in this way. And I understand that some devotees are shy or not so much. I mean, more likely the practical activities are attractive for them. But this is a possibility to go beyond just reading, and it's so amazing that Guru Maharaj lets us do this, and supports us to go deeper in our studies. So I just would like to encourage, because it's, you know, it's I'm really not someone who can do this, but Krishna can give anybody any kind of abilities. And I'm just always thinking that, oh my God, if my spiritual practices would be better, then how nice classes I would be able to give if I wouldn't be so much in the way, but I could be more a pure tunnel, you know, just a channel for Krishna. So everybody really can do this, and I just would like to add this as encouragement.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji. Yeah, as you said, like whatever reading we do, we have to do like as if we are going to give a class, so that we'll get more insights, and so think in different way, like what the purport is saying and what Srila Prabhupada is trying to say. Yes, Mataji, everyone should try to give the class or preach, because Guru Maharaj wants that. Desire is like everyone has to preach. Hopefully, through your encouragement, more speakers will come out. So thank you so much. Rishabh Prabhu is asking something. Can you tell us more about realizations of Krishna in your life? It is very insightful for me.
Very interesting question. I mean, very general question. That's why it's a little bit difficult for me. But it reminds me Urmila Mataji's one of Urmila Mataji's classes, because at that time she asked devotees to list different kinds of material activities which they do in their lives, and you know, like paying the bills, taking the children to school, or things like that, going to work. And there was also a list for spiritual activities. And then we speak about going to the temple, worshipping the deities, chanting Hare Krishna, having kirtan together, listening to classes. And for me, it was very, very striking to hear her point that actually our goal should be that the two are overlapped, that we should learn to spiritualize our daily activities also, because actually this is why Srila Prabhupada created this expression that Krishna conscious movement, Krishna consciousness, is that our goal is that we can do so many things in our lives, and we have to do so many so-called material activities in our life, but we can do all of these with remembering Krishna during that time. And lately from Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, maybe it wasn't from him, but anyway, I've heard one metaphor. It was about spiritual knowledge, and the metaphor was about, I think it was a rasagula, and that when you make a rasagula, then it's you put it into this sugared water, and the rasagula will become bigger and just absorbs this sugar water syrup. And actually he spoke about this in the context of spiritual knowledge, but I was thinking that this is something like Krishna consciousness, that it's not like there is a ball and in the middle there is another ball of, you know, some kind of feeling. So, for example, samosa is like that we have our material life that's outside, and in the middle there is something really tasty which has the flavor. So sometimes for some people religious life can be like that, but we should endeavor more likely to be like a rasagula, that the feeling is everywhere. So that this sugar water syrup permeates, or something like that is the word, that it's throughout everywhere in the rasagula. And as I understand, if we can always think of Krishna, then we will be able to see his arrangements in our lives. And that's why in the beginning it might be good to, you know, to do services which we are enthusiastic about, because we will be enthusiastic, we want to put more effort into it, and we will more likely be able to see Krishna's hands in that part of our lives. And for example, for me, this is like preparing for classes, that I just realized that it's some kind of like a reciprocation with Krishna. When I started to notice things in these notes, which I thought that, oh, it's I think it's not my own really, but actually this is when this is our goal to achieve real humility, when we can understand that we can do everything with Krishna, but without him, we cannot do anything. This is one of the definitions of humility, and we should endeavor for that. But so if in the beginning we do something which we like, and we can have a reciprocation with Krishna, but we should also endeavor to be able to remember Krishna more and more parts or areas of our life. Because if we can remember him, then we will be able to notice his arrangements. Many times we notice his arrangements when we experience some kind of suffering, and we see that, okay, but I am going through this suffering, but Krishna arranged that I don't have to deal any side difficulties, or in the end I experienced that how it turned out to be good after all, or I experienced that he saved me after all from that situation. So there are these areas where we are more easily be able to see Krishna, but the goal should be to see him more and more in other areas of our lives. And I always think, I'm not on that level, but I always think, and as I hear from others, that when someone is really Krishna conscious and can see him everywhere, then that's why at some point, whatever service we can do, and it's not like, oh, I don't want to do that seems so difficult, or something like that, because we can see Krishna's hand in even those things. And when we can be connected with him, that's a different level, a whole different level. But for preparing ourselves for that, we really shouldn't neglect hearing and meditating on what we heard. It's just my own how to say, I came up with with this for myself, that for me it's also not it is important what kind of topics I'm reading about, because I'm very much interested in most of spiritual topics, but I also experience that it's for me it's very different when I hear or read about Krishna's pastimes. Lately I again started to listen to Indradyumna Maharaj's series about this stimulation. Oh, sorry, I just have to look it up. Stimulation for ecstatic love. So he has a series about that, and these are just half sort of 20 to 30 minutes long presentations about different tools of Krishna, or his smile, or his cows, and it's really pure nectar. And in one sense, philosophy and pastimes are non-different, so any of them are beneficial for us. But when we hear about pastimes, we can more easily have some kind of understanding of how, not just how great he is and how we should approach him, but about how sweet he is. And I think when we really understand how sweet he is, that's what really triggers our dormant love. But obviously all the other topics are needed also for understanding that sweetness, but also hearing about the glories of the holy name. That's so essential in how to charge up our chanting, so that it becomes even more powerful. But I also had some kind of experience about I had to do some kind of research, and for 2 to 3 days I was reading about I would say modern day saints, like these saintly devotees of Srila Prabhupada. their pastimes. And it was so amazing. In the end of the second day, I could feel that, wow, it's such an experience. I really want to be something like them. And all these topics where we can experience that we get some inspiration, that I really want to be better, and I really want to have this kind of not this kind of but this strength of relationship with Krishna. And whenever we get something like this, it's always such a great treasure. It's not just like sense gratification or something like, oh, I ate such a delicious cake and it felt nice. But when we have this kind of experience, which connects us with Krishna, which inspires us to be better for his pleasure, for pleasing him, that's just really, really such a great treasure. We cannot even imagine the value of these small moments. So that's what it means for me to have Krishna in our life. But sorry, I don't know if it answered your question. I just try to relate to it somehow, because I think this question can be approached in so many different aspects, and probably all of them are good. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for the question, because this is actually how what we really should be thinking about it a lot. So this is what brings us closer and closer to Krishna. That how we can approach him even more, even better. So
Hare
if
Krishna. Yeah.
no questions, then
Sorry, Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much once again for such a wonderful class. And yeah, the last part, you explained it very well. Thank you so much, Mataji. Bishop Prabhu, hope you got all your answers. Okay, so we'll end the call here, Mataji. Thank you so much once again. Vanchakalpatarupyascha kripasindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo namo namah. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Mataji ki jai.
Guru